Bam.
The big story of the week, fire breaks out at the AJ Fernandez factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Fire has broke out at the Tabacalera AJ Fernandez Cigars de Nicaragua. What's the SA for at the end? We talked about this before.
I don't remember.
Satisfaction always?
Satisfaction always.
In Esteli, Nicaragua, the main factory for the AJ Fernandez operation. Video shows a large blaze in one of the buildings with firefighters on scene. So I can't stop yawning. I'm sorry.
Dude, get it together, man.
I've been very tired lately.
You embarrass yourself.
Videos show a large blaze in one of the buildings with firefighters on scene. So they had firefighters.
They do, I mean...
Did you see the video? Are there firefighters in the video?
I didn't see the firefighters.
Do they look like our firefighters, or are they like doing the bucket brigade?
I didn't see, but there's probably buckets involved.
I think so.
Yeah.
They had helmets on. I saw that.
Those are plastic, like the motorcycle helmets in China. Multiple sources told Cigar Hustlers Podcast that the fire appears to be in the packaging department. It's unclear how much of the rest of the building has been damaged, but workers have been seen taking bales out of the building. Not looting, they're actually moving them.
Right.
Okay.
Dude, there's no way you're not going to loot there.
Oh, at AJ, that's right. No. They got the guns. They have
the guns.
Well, that also keeps Luciano out of the factory.
Well, it does? That's how he's...
The guns. That's what they're primarily, they call it the Luciano Task Force.
These guys are serious over here.
This is mine. Oh, now he's walking in going, this is mine. Look at it. It's beautiful. Oh, it's burned. Never mind.
This is not mine.
The factory is one of the largest in the world producing cigars for a long list of companies, including some of the world's largest, like Altadis, General Cigar. And then smaller brands like Foundation Cigar Company, Artisanio they make the Del Taco guys.
Well, yeah, AJ told them not to use
that's right.
drinks. Yeah.
Well, now you can if you want to. Operates another
fire cured San Andreas.
Fire cured San. Yeah, no, everything now is Kentucky fire cured. We're making fun of this.
I'm sorry, it's not funny.
It's not funny.
It really isn't funny.
But he has a second factory, the San Latano factory in Octal, about 40 miles north of Esteli. The factory is known for producing cigars for Espinosa premium cigars and knuckle sandwich cigars. So those are safe.
Okay. That's a relief.
That's a relief.
Okay. Do you think, I know that, you're obviously tired because you moved, it's been an 8-day move for you.
Yes.
Right.
We're finally done.
And the fatigue is finally sitting in. I get
Apparently, as we record this show.
Yeah. Do you think that the fire actually happened in the packaging area?
I've seen one photo.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of paper and stuff on the floor.
Okay.
So I'm guessing yes.
Okay. What do you think, Boots?
No.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I think that, look, here's my disclaimer. This is entirely speculative, and I could be way off base on this. But I think that fires like this occur, and they occur too often in these countries due to the fumigation process.
Him yawning off camera is not helping.
Jeez Louise, guys.
Trying
Come
to
on,
keep
stop
behind
it.
the
Dial
TV
in.
here.
Okay.
Stop.
Well, I'm not doing it on purpose.
Tobacco farms commonly use fumigation methods to control pests, particularly during storage rather than in the field. And one of the most widely employed fumigants is phosphine. Phosphine is typically released from fumigation pills or tablets made of aluminum phosphide or magnesium phosphide. When these tablets come into contact with moisture in the air, they react to produce phosphine gas, which is highly effective at eliminating pests like the tobacco beetle and tobacco moth. These tablets,
tobacco moth? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
These tablets are not applied directly to growing tobacco plants, but are used in post-harvest scenarios, such as in warehouses, silos, or shipping containers, where cured tobacco is stored. The process involves placing the tablets in a controlled environment with tobacco allowing the gas to penetrate bales, bags, or bulk storage and kill infestations. Dosage and exposure time vary depending on temperature, humidity, and pest resistance, but guidelines from organizations like Coresta often recommend specific protocols. For instance, around 3 to 9 grams of phosphine per cubic meter for 5 to 7 days under atmospheric pressure. So, I think, here's the real question. Are these tablets combustible?
Yeah. Well, that's why I was waiting for you to say it was highly flammable or something, which was not mentioned in the story you read.
Probably, but they're not going to tell you that.
So, realistically, the tablets themselves aren't combustible.
But the gas probably is.
However, I asked Grok both of these questions, okay?
Oh.
Aluminum phosphate and magnesium phosphate tablets themselves are not inherently combustible in their solid form under normal conditions. They don't easily catch fire when exposed to a flame or spark. However, they become highly dangerous when they react with moisture or acids as the reaction generates phosphine gas, which is both toxic and flammable. Phosphine gas is combustible and can ignite spontaneously in air if its concentration exceeds about 1.8% by volume, or roughly 18,000 parts per million. This auto-ignition can happen at temperatures as low as 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, though external ignition sources like sparks or flames can set it off at lower concentrations. So if this fumigation process is happening,
Right.
and it's not controlled or regulated, like somebody is potentially in there and they light something, you can have the fire ignite.
What's the temperature inside of these places down in?
Is it 200?
It's not 212 degrees. It's not that hot.
Isn't everybody walking around smoking cigars?
Well, okay, yes.
So the guy walks into the room smoking a cigar. Next thing,
In a fumigation process,
Right.
with these tablets, could be what's causing this problem. Now, again, I'm not an Esteli.
right.
I'm not
Not a phosphine expert.
I'm not a phosphine expert. I'm not in AJ's factory. However, it doesn't seem likely to me that the fire would occur in packaging.
I feel if it did occur in packaging, I don't know. These fires are just kind of weird how they keep happening, and if it's an outside source, maybe.
Right. So what's protocol for this in order to make it so that it doesn't happen?
Well,
If we're
take away that, you would minus that variable.
if we're assuming that it's a fumigation in these tablets,
Yeah, you would
Okay.
minus that.
well, you have to do the fumigation
You have to do
process.
the fumigation, or probably one, it's not going to leave.
Why does it have to be inside? Can't it be outside?
No, well, everything's in bales and kind of in case, right?
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think for the gas and the insecticide to go through the tobacco, it's got to be in an enclosed area.
Right. So you have to do that fumigation, right? And then you have to air it all out, right?
Why can't they just do like okay, so like let's say you're growing plants at your house. If you have bugs, you can hit it with soapy water.
Okay, well, we're not fumigating the actual plants being grown.
Okay.
This is happening after the harvest,
Yeah, these are the bales.
Okay.
right? So, because,
I guess you wouldn't want to wet it then.
what's that?
I guess you wouldn't want to wet the bales.
Well, not with
No.
soapy water.
No, so you would fumigate, right? But now I've heard rumors about different tablets that are less combustible, and there's obviously some processes there that people are being negligent on, one way or the other, right? So number one is, I think that you need to initiate some form of protocol where when the fumigation process is occurring, there's more protection for it, right?
Right.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's a third world country. I mean, you know,
Right.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of policies.
With millions of dollars on the line.
oh, certainly,
Right.
That doesn't mean Juan, who's supposed to be in charge of airing out the fumigation area, is not standing there with a, like you're doing right now, standing there smoking a cigar while he's cranking the fan up.
Right. So that needs to happen one way or the other. Or two, I've heard that there's a tablet that is less combustible,
Sure.
but it's more expensive.
I was going to say, it's probably not as cheap, though.
Yeah,
right.
So they're not going to go with that.
Well, you should. I mean, how much money do you think was lost right now in this fire? It's huge.
They have insurance down there type thing?
I'm sure they do. Not only that, but I'm sure the government would get involved as far as I would guess that they would help rebuild if need be.
Well, AJ, probably, but a lesser factory, like if the Del Taco guys had their own factory.
Right. But more often
government
than
might go, we're not even a big fan of tacos.
yeah, but more often than not, when you hear about these fires,
Oh, it's the big boys.
they're always these big factories.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Number one. Okay, so here's the second thing. Why isn't there a really efficient fire department in Esteli? Why hasn't, not the government, but why hasn't the big factories gotten together and say, hey, listen, this is an ongoing issue.
Let's have our own private.
It happens every few years,
Right.
time and time again. Why don't we all pool in and make this awesome fire department system?
Are the factories close enough together where one fire station could cover everybody?
In Esteli, 100%.
So in SLE, but okay, so
it'd
they
be
would
like
have to do it by city, let's say, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, town.
It'd be like a reactionary force team.
Yeah.
Maybe they have, but it's not because, I mean, it does happen, but it's not like it's happening every day.
Right.